Yes, people, you know the face, you know the name. Aaron here, back again with another video. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Shout out to everyone liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all of these good things for my channel, for the algorithm of this channel. And I finally found the name. I've been doing some thinking. I asked people online, put two and two together, tried to put this thing together and this thing together. And I thought, you know what? Game Changer. Game Changer. This is going to be the name of this show. Game Changer. So last week, or 2 weeks actually prior to this, was episode 1. This is episode 2. So welcome. Anyway, like I said, thank you for everyone liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and also making this channel what it is till this day. Let's dive straight into this episode. I went to watch Burnley Arsenal yesterday. Went all the way to Burnley, watched the game against Arsenal, and you know, we banter Arsenal every single week. We say that they're this, they're that. And sometimes, you know, it's fun. But I think it was very important for me to go and watch them in the flesh. And I think it was very important for me to go there just as a neutral football fan and as a neutral and as a football fan, to go and watch what they actually do. And one thing I told my Arsenal friends, my friends that support Arsenal, is it was very impressive to see the level of coaching that goes into what Arteta's doing with Arsenal. Yes, sometimes the quality might lack. Yes, sometimes the injuries may occur. Yes, they don't have that killer number 9 up front, which is actually, in my opinion, the only thing that's missing. If they manage to get someone in that can be a stone cold killer up front, it's problems for everyone in the Premier League. I'll tell you that for free. But it was very impressive to see the amount of detailed work and detailed coaching that goes into what Arteta's doing. Everyone respects their task. Everyone knows what they're doing. The amount of times I've seen Saka and Martinelli on both wings, sometimes, you know, they'll get the ball, they'll try and cut in, pass it to someone who's available. And as soon as they're done with that, it's back out to the wings. And I know it sounds very cliche, and I know we've seen it with different clubs as well, different teams, but to see that in the flesh and for Arteta to put the emphasis on that, because as soon as they come inside to try and pass it to someone else, immediately, almost immediately, he goes, hey, go back to the wings, hug that touchline. So it was very impressive to see, man. Declan Rice, he's an engine in midfield, man, a proper engine in midfield. And yes, it was Burnley, but to see that, because, you know, sometimes players will, or teams will go to Burnley and struggle, like Manchester United did. They went to Burnley, they struggled. And to see Arsenal do that after they scored 6 against West Ham and 5 against Burnley, that was very impressive to see. So listen, kudos to Arsenal, man. You know, kudos. That's the reason why they're in the title race. That's the reason why they are in the title race. And you can't deny the quality that's in that team when most of their important players are fit. It's very important to highlight that as well. So yeah, I was very impressed with some of the players. Saliba, obviously a rock at the back. There's a reason why he's been named as one of the best centre-backs in the world, if not the best. And if they don't tie him down to a new contract, then the big boys, they're going to come calling. In my opinion, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but Saliba looks like a Real Madrid player to me. So in a couple of years' time, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4, I can see him go to Real Madrid, because once Florentino Perez picks up his phone, it's very hard to say no. So I can see him end up at Real Madrid in a couple of years' time. But so far, yeah, very impressive to see, man. Very impressive. There was another game this weekend, City against Chelsea, and that finished 1-1. Very interesting game as well to watch. And I can't lie, man. It's kind of, it's more of Chelsea bottled it instead of City got the point, if that makes sense. City obviously played their usual game, but the dangerous thing with playing so high, which is very unusual for Man City to play that high, every time Chelsea went on a counter-attack, it was nearly a goal. I'm thinking about the Jackson chance. I'm thinking about the Raheem Sterling goal. I'm thinking about, there was another chance where, I can't remember what exactly happened, but every time they went in behind, Man City found themselves 2 against 2, or two defenders against 3 attackers. And it could have been, in the first half, it could have been a wrap. It could have been 3-0. But Chelsea needed to take those chances, and I feel like Chelsea fumbled it. Chelsea fumbled it big time, and the substitutions that Pochettino made didn't help either. I mean, if you're going to bring on Christopher Nkunku in the second half, you need to surround him with players that are going to enable him to use his best attributes, the skills, the composure in front of goal, the ability to finish. Just putting Nkunku up front, it's not really going to help. I mean, you could have kept on Palmer, who had a really good game, by the way. So I feel like Chelsea bottled it a little bit, in my opinion. So yeah, but in the end, I would like to say that it's a good point for them. That's what I would say. Man City, I don't know, man. Something about City this season feels different. I still think they're the only team to go on a 10-game run without losing. I still feel like they can do that. But like I said, Pep's way of playing is like there's one way and there's nothing else. If that doesn't work, it almost looks like the players are a bit stuck. But at the same time, you have to give credit to Chelsea because they forced City to go out wide and cross it in. Doku didn't have the best of games, in my opinion. I feel like Malo Gusto was really good as a right back. And listen, I'm not going to say it's almost making you forget the fact that Reece James is on his way back and he's out injured. But it is a good replacement. And listen, Reece James, it's not a given that, you know, he comes back into the team and starts straight away because he's the captain. No, he's going to have to work his way back into the team, in my opinion, because Malo Gusto has done a really good job against Doku yesterday. I'm not going to say he locked him up, but he very much limited all of the best attributes that Doku has, which is the pace. Sometimes he does that little drag back round the outside and crosses it in with his left. He does that little thing where he puts his, you know what I mean? Like he puts his foot on the ball, then kind of does the little shimmy, then the body feint and then drags it and then turns. We didn't see any of that yesterday. So really good job from Malo Gusto yesterday. Really, really good job. Rodri, once again, every time Man City need a goal, this guy pops up with one. He, in my opinion, is the most clutch player for Manchester City in the last 2-3 years because every time, well, I'm going to say Gundogan probably as well, but Rodri, Champions League final, yesterday, and there's so many other examples you can name where Rodri pops up with a goal when City really, really need it. That is the definition of clutch every single time. So, yeah, man, I feel like it's 2 points dropped for Man City, definitely, because obviously they're in the title race, and it's 1 point gained for Chelsea. And obviously, you know, they're way down below the table, 10th or 11th or something like that. And for them, it's a small step forward. But, you know, an away day against Manchester City where you get a point at the Etihad, knowing that maybe before the game, Chelsea fans would have said, you know, we're going into this and if we can lose 2-0, I'll take that. I think it's a positive for them. So, yeah. I've spoken about this already on my TikTok, but I wanted to touch on it on YouTube as well. Kylian Mbappe has announced that he's leaving PSG. Now, I've talked about this already on Instagram as well. Make sure you check out the videos. Shout out to Your Fresh TV. And a lot of people gave me stick for saying that I believe that PSG will look better without Kylian Mbappe, and I'll tell you why. Mbappe is the type of guy that obviously demands a lot of things. He demands to take penalties, sometimes demands to take free kicks. He wants to be the focal point. He wants to be the main man, which automatically makes other players around him not really show their talent so much unless you're Messi and Neymar. And even they got pushed out the club. And that's another thing that people gave me stick for and told me that I was chatting rubbish. If you check your sources, you will come to the conclusion, and I'm talking about real sources, not sources on Twitter. No, real sources of French journalists confirming Kylian Mbappe going to the board and saying, I want to be the main man. The team has to be built around me and the team has to be more French. Do you then think it's a coincidence? It's a coincidence that Neymar left? Di Maria left? Bernat is not even playing anymore? Who else? Messi, so did I say Messi? Yeah, so Messi, Neymar, Di Maria, they left. Some of the other Spanish-speaking players, they left because there was a complaint at the time that the first language being spoken in the dressing room at PSG was Spanish. There was a complaint about that. Fans were complaining and saying that it's not normal that the first language of PSG, the capital, the only club in the capital of Paris playing in the top flight, is Spanish. There was a complaint about that. So people needed to be moved. And who others, than to go to the board? Who else than for him to go to the board and demand these things? Kylian Mbappe. Who else than Kylian Mbappe to go to Nasser Al-Khelaifi and say, listen, I want a French core of players. Coincidentally, in the summer, Lucas Hernandez, Bradley Barcola, I'm trying to think of other players that they brought in. Yeah. Lucas Hernandez, Bradley Barcola, and a bunch of other French-speaking players came into Randall Colomwani, yes, Gonzalo Ramos, Ousmane Dembele. Do you really think it's a coincidence? I don't think so. So listen, whatever you want to think of my opinion on it, I think Kylian Mbappe ordered Messi and Neymar to move because he wanted to be the star and he wanted the team to be built around him. But hey, to each his own, man. Everybody's got their opinion. So I think PSG will be a better team without Mbappe because the pressure of always having to pass the ball to him to finish off every move will be gone. Players will have more freedom to express themselves. Players will have more freedom to have a say and input on what happens in the dressing room. Because right now, it very much looks like Mbappe has the final say on what happens. Do you know what I mean? So that's my opinion on it. So I think it's pretty clear as well where he's going to end up. We don't want to say it, but we all know it's going to happen. He's going to be at Real Madrid. Something tells me that there might be a slight surprise. I'm not going to throw names in of clubs, but there might be a surprise. But I think the majority knows he's going to end up at Real Madrid, of course. So, yeah, because really and truly, if you think about it, that's the missing piece up front. As a number 9 striker, that's the missing piece. So that's what I believe. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. To finish off, today marks a week after the Afcon final. And this feels like a personal matter because this was the first Afcon where, obviously I've always been invested in Afcons, but this was the first one where I was really, really invested. Not just because my country made it far, shout out to DR Congo, but I feel like this Afcon brought so many people together, not just Africans, but many people actually got interested in watching African football. I feel like everything was just spot on. The organization, the pitches, the stadiums, security at the stadiums. You haven't heard of one incident. The referees, VAR was used almost perfectly. There was no arguments. Okay, there's always going to be arguments, but there was no decision where people would talk about it for days after the actual incident like we do for the Premier League, if that makes sense. So I just feel like everything about Afcon 2023, yes, it's called 2023 officially. Please don't kill me in the comments. I feel like everything about Afcon 2023 has just been perfect. And obviously to see the host nation win it is beautiful to see as well. Beautiful to see. So everything about it was just so beautiful. I promise you, the fans, the media, the way it was portrayed on social media, the memes, everything was just so well done. Honestly, man. And for anybody out there that still doubts anything or has any doubts about African football, Afcon 2023 should be the response to you or the response to your doubts. And also, I feel like this Afcon will push more players, young players in Europe, in America, wherever they are, with double nationalities to maybe choose for their motherland. And it's very beautiful to see. Obviously, certain countries, you'll still have to wait a couple of years. I feel like DR Congo is one of those. I feel like a lot of countries will have to wait more and more years for people to go, okay, my actual motherland is my first choice. But at the same time, it's beautiful to see other examples like Ivory Coast, like Senegal. Senegal has reached a point in their structure where players in France, born in France, of Senegalese descent go, I don't want to play for France. I want to go back home. Morocco. And the beautiful thing about Morocco is you've got Moroccans in Belgium, Moroccans in France, and Moroccans in Holland. So they don't even speak the same language, but their first thought is, I want to go play for Morocco. So it's beautiful to see these things, man. And speaking of Morocco, the next Afcon is going to be next year already in Morocco. Obviously, people do have concerns about certain topics, but I feel like this is going to be another great Afcon. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I'll be the first to tell you guys, I'm saving my money right now because I want to be there. Next year, in the summer, the heat's going to kill me though, because the heat in Morocco in the summer, I'm hearing 40 degrees and stuff like that. So, hey, but listen, I need to go. So it's very beautiful to see players pick their country of origin as the first choice. Cape Verde is another one. I feel like the next wave of Cape Verdean players, or players that have never even been to Cape Verde but are just of Cape Verdean descent, would want to play for Cape Verde. So it's a beautiful thing to see, man. For me, Afcon was a total success. It brought people together like never before. I've had aunties and uncles and cousins that are not really interested in football like I am, but they were fully invested in Afcon, discussing results, discussing this, and in group chats we were talking and bantering, and just see what I mean. So we caught ourselves talking in the group chat with the boys, talking about Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, and do you see what I mean? And that was beautiful to see, man. Honestly, this Afcon was a total success. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. Was Afcon a success to you? And did you like it? Did you follow it the way I did? Who did you root for? Who did you want to win? Are you happy with Ivory Coast that won it? Let me know in the comments, man. And yeah, that was the end of episode 2 of Game Changer. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all of these good things for me. Algorithm. Please don't forget. Make sure you follow me on all socials. Aaron Chikaya, AaronCikaya, on all social media platforms. It's not hard to find me. And shout out to Mr. Diba, as always, for letting me use the studios, letting me use the equipment. You see it behind me, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Links will be in the description below as per usual. If you live in and around Manchester, please get in touch with Mr. Diba and he's going to sort you out, man. He does everything. So yeah, music, podcast, you name it. Anyway, guys, that was it for me. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. God bless. Peace.